are now listening to the Gen Podcast.
What's up, everyone? My name is Evan, and welcome to the first ever episode of the X-Gen Podcast, the show where four friends will discuss all things gaming. We'll be releasing brand new episodes every other week where we'll tell you all about what we've been playing. We'll talk a little video game news, and in the back half of the show, we're going to discuss a different topic each and every episode. Those topics could be anything from the history of a video game to top 5 lists to our predictions and much, much more. But today, however, is going to work a little bit differently. So today is our introductory episode, and it's a great opportunity for everyone to get to know the X-Gen crew. So we'll be spending today introducing ourselves and discussing a series of topics and questions that'll help you guys get to know us as gamers. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the three lovely people here joining me. So if you guys want to take it away.
That's you, Liam.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise you wanted me to go first. Oh, we're doing it in order, are we? Okay.
Yeah,
Right,
that order on the Google Doc there.
Hi, I'm Liam. I'm from the United Kingdom. I'm 36 years old and very much an avid gamer. I've been gaming pretty much all my life. Wanted to talk a bit about my family. I'm married, got a beautiful wife, got 2 cats, and live in a sunny part of Essex. I don't really have many hobbies outside of gaming, to be perfectly honest with you.
Just game.
Gaming. I mean, I do like to play football. I do support West Ham United, a British Premier League football team, who are currently doing quite well. So, not too quite happy to be a supporter right now. Playing football. I do actually quite like going ice skating as well, but because before the lockdown, I was actually planning on joining an ice hockey team.
Nice.
So I did start to do some ice skating, but since this lockdown, I've probably lost my touch. So I'm going to have to start all over again, I reckon.
Is ice hockey pretty popular in the UK?
No, but
I would definitely say it's more an American / Canadian thing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we do have like a county league and a national league, but it's nowhere near as big as it is in America. I mean, I've seen. You know, I watch the Toronto Maple Leafs. A bit of a fan of them, and I've seen, you know, the supporters and the arenas they play in are huge. But over here, not so much. If I'm going to go back to gaming, what I've currently been playing recently is I've actually been in between games because I've kind of finished the main games I've got. So I was recently playing quite a few games on the PlayStation 5, such as Sackboy, Spider-Man, and Remastered and Miles Morales. But I'm now in between games because I've finished the big ones. I'm kind of a bit lost on what to do. So I've been playing Resident Evil on Xbox One, the original Resident Evil remake that was originally remastered for GameCube. And I actually started playing Bugsnax on PS5 as it was a PlayStation Plus game that they released for free. So I thought, why not? And that is a surprise. So I've been very much enjoying that.
What sort of game is that?
It's kind of like Pokemon Snap, but you get given. So it's strange. So it's really quite difficult to describe because it's its own game. So you arrive on this island, and you're basically looking for a lost kind of like explorer. And they discovered, whilst this explorer was on this island, they discovered these things called Bugsnax, and they're not quite bugs, but they're not quite snacks. But they taste delicious. But and when you eat a Bugsnax, your body transforms into kind of, so if you eat like a strawberry, your hand will turn into a strawberry. It's a really bizarre concept. But it's a really, I mean, it's such a great game, and it's one of those ones I definitely recommend because it's difficult to explain, but once you kind of get playing it, you kind of get that feel where you think, oh, okay, yeah, I see where this is going. It's actually really addictive, and it's so laid back. It's kind of like an Animal Crossing laid back, where there's an objective, but there's not any kind of way to die in a sense. So you're not.
The game doesn't kind of end, so to speak.
I think it ends, but not like, as I say, there's no game over in a sense of you're not going, you can't die in the game, so there's no stress to it at all. It's very laid back. It's very good. It's worth playing.
I've never heard of that.
I think it's relatively
it was
new, right? It's a couple months ago, or
it was a launch title for the PS5, and it's one of those ones which a lot of people kind of looked at it and laughed it off because it looked very childish. But no, don't let that fool you. It's actually really good.
it kind of gave me Viva Pinata vibes when I saw like the trailers and stuff. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, I loved Viva Pinata. Don't know about you other guys if you played that. No,
Viva Pinata, that was like a launch title for the Xbox, right?
360, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of Rare's classics. Yeah.
All right, Katie, you want to
introduce
yourself?
Well, there you go. That's my name. Well, I'm Katie. I am from the southeast of England in the UK. Basically, I live at home with my mum and my dad. We have 3 doggos. One called Ratchet, which is obviously featuring into the video game theme. Picked out his name, Ratchet, after Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. And Bertie is the other dog. They are brothers. We couldn't necessarily call we called one Ratchet. We couldn't call the other one Clank because that would have just sounded ridiculous. Wanting your dog to come back to you from across the field and you just shout Clank. It's like, that sounds ridiculous. So he got the name Bertie, which is, I guess, more doggy friendly. And then not long ago, really, in November, I got a puppy, Cocker Spaniel puppy, which I named Jax after one of my favourite TV shows of all time, Sons of Anarchy. And pretty much he's been a great, like, I love gaming, but he's been a great addition to my life, I want to say, especially with lockdown happening and everything, because I go to America quite regularly, and that money that was obviously going towards another America trip went to Jax, and it was money well spent. He can be a little shit every now and again, but obviously you let it go when you look at his really big puppy, his big puppy dog eyes and droopy ears and everything like that. But no. And what I like to do outside of gaming, I mean, I'm a football supporter as well. So I don't know if this is going to create some sort of rivalry, Liam, but I'm probably not really, because I'm a Stevenage supporter. So that's League 2, not Premier League. So no. I doubt it.
No, only if we play each other in the FA Cup.
Yeah. I would say avid football fan. Like I obviously currently we can't go to games, but as much as I can. Like I try to get season ticket every year, which I did get this year. It's a total waste of time, but there you go. And I'm also I want to say I'm a musician, because I did go to college and learn music for 5 years, and I play the drums. So I do have a drum kit actually in my garage, but I haven't actually played it for a little while, just obviously lacking the motivation, I guess. So I learned some pretty good skills, like practical wise, when it comes to music, making music on like, your laptops, making your beats, making your DJ kind of sets and things like that. So I've got a little bit of experience when it comes to making music electronically, but I'm more of a fan of it in the practical sense. My dream job when I guess growing up was wanting to be in a band and all that sort of stuff. But no, so I like having that skill. I like, if I ever get angry and want to just go bang something out on the drums, I think at least I've got that opportunity. So if I get mad at a boss in a game, just go bang out on the drums. But yeah. And then what I've been playing lately, multiplayer wise, I've been playing Overwatch. I think people will find if we keep asking this question every week, every week what we've been playing. It'll be Overwatch will probably be always a game I think I'll be talking about, just because I love Overwatch. I am addicted to it. I played it. I got it not long after it came out, and literally I've just been a really big fan of that for ages. Obviously, I do get salty with it. I do get angry with it, but it's always a lot of fun. It's addicting, and I keep going back to it. And another game I've been playing outside of multiplayer is Cyberpunk, and I played that. I played that on my stream on my Twitch channel. I know it's a game that's caused a lot of controversy. Obviously, I won't get too much into it because then we might be here for a while. My playthrough of it personally has been relatively okay. It's been, I've had my bugs and I've had my glitches, but none that have actually experienced my my playthrough and my time with it.
What are you playing it on?
PC. Okay. So that is obviously, if people are thinking, okay, what do you get it on? I will quickly just say I recommend, if you've got a PC that can run it, I would say PC, because the console versions are not in a great place still. Obviously, they are saying they're working on it, and I believe in them that they're going to work on it. But obviously, game shouldn't have come out in the state it was in the first place, which is a sad thing. But no, I'm thoroughly enjoying the game. It's what I expected it to be: big open world, really interesting, in-depth, branching storyline, all these different side quests. It's if you've played The Witcher 3, I feel like you know what you're going to get with CD Projekt Red in terms of them telling the story, which is it's really, really good. Overall, I enjoy it, and I would still recommend it to anyone that's into their RPGs and into like The Witcher and everything. I don't know if any of you guys are interested in picking it up or have picked it up already.
I do own it on Xbox, but I haven't played it yet because I'm specifically waiting for the next gen patch, which is supposed to come the second half of this year.
And that's another thing that's obviously gone against them in the sense that I feel like they knew it wasn't ready for next gen, but yet they still released it.
Yeah,
tried to release it. Or
I think they caved into pressure a bit. I think they were getting a lot of flack from the community for delaying the game, and I just know that I just have the feeling, that they felt they couldn't delay it again as much as they probably wanted to.
Evan or James, do you want it, or have you got it, or are you waiting for it to be, I guess, fixed at this point?
I have told myself I'm not going to pre-order games anymore. So I was really hard with Cyberpunk. I was so close multiple times, but I was like, no, I'm going to wait. And I'm really glad I did. I really want to play it. I'm a big, the game looks awesome, and I'm sure it's the game itself is fantastic. So my plan is to wait until, people are basically saying that it's fixed, and then hopefully I can get it on Steam's Christmas sale next year or something, get it for $40 and play. I really want to play it, but
I did pre-order it. That's the thing. I did pre-order it. I feel like it's kind of cheating. I only pre-ordered it, I guess, 5 days before it came out, because I'm like, I want it so I can preload it so it's ready to play. That's pretty much the only reason why I did it.
I haven't pre-ordered. Same as you, Evan. I don't pre-order games anymore, solely because I just don't see the point. If I'm not going to play it at midnight, which I'm getting too old now to do that, so there's no point to me to pre-order it. And sometimes I look at collector's editions, and I think it's just a massive rip. Some of the figures at the moment. I mean, I did see a figure for Wolfenstein. It was just the collector's edition was just ridiculous, and I just thought, nah.
Can get your mini fridge with Call of Duty.
Can you?
Yeah,
you can get a mini fridge.
This is a topic we could do on a whole show, but yeah, definitely. Any more pre-ordering a game, the benefits you get with it are things that are just available for DLC after, like cosmetics and stuff. Like Assassin's Creed comes to mind. You can all the outfits and stuff that the pre-order comes with, you can just pay $5 for down the road if you really want it and also get it. So there's I don't know. Okay. All right.
Oh, it's me, isn't it?
It is you.
Hello. I am James, and I am also from Essex, like Liam, but I'm a little bit further up than Liam.
I was going to say, do you know each other actually?
We don't know. No, I used to live near Liam, but we moved further out because we had a baby about a year ago. So that was fun. It still is fun, by the way. It's still fun. I'm 32. No, 33. No, I'm 32. I'm 32. I play a lot of 7 Days to Die. That's kind of like my game at the moment. I've been playing it for a while.
I've not heard of that game.
7 Days to Die is a survival horror / crafting game. It's also tower defense. It's just got a little bit of everything in it. It's multiplayer. You can play on a server or you can play alone. I tend to do both. I switch in between playing on my own because I'm miserable that way, and I like my own game. And I also play with a friend, and we sort of go around scavenging, and we're looking into building a giant castle at the moment because you can just build whatever you like with blocks. It's a little bit like a No, I was going to say it's a little bit like Minecraft. It is and it isn't. You build with blocks.
You could build anything that kind of goes into the same realm.
Yeah, you can sort of do. Yeah, you can do quite a fair bit on it. It is really, really interesting. It's a really fun game. I like to play horror. Horror is my favourite game genre, and it's what I play a lot of. So that's basically what I pretty much play, or platform, or really, really cutesy platformers.
I love that you go from horror to like cutesy platformers.
It really is, yeah, it's one way or the other, really. So, yeah, that's that, and that's me. That's me.
So when you're not playing Resident Evil or games that which kind of intensify your fear, you're playing games like Rainbow Island and Bubble Bobble.
And Kirby's Dream Land. Yeah, pretty much.
I like it.
That's superb.
That's to go back to having a kid. That's the one thing I'm really, really looking forward to, is replaying all those games like that again, and like reliving it through my kid's eyes, which will be fantastic.
Yeah.
And he needs to grow up. I'm sort of can't wait, really. I might just go trade him in for another kid. A little bit older.
I think it's too old.
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait.
Yeah, I've been trying to do the same thing with my nephews. Turned 5 this year, and I've been like, "Is he too young? Can I buy him like the NES Classic or whatever, or like get him like the PlayStation 1 emulator or whatever they came out with, and get him into gaming?" But
my nephew's just turned 5, and he got this Nintendo Switch for Christmas, and he absolutely adores Mario Kart. So I think he's on his way to becoming a gamer. But again, like yourself, James, I want to kind of introduce them to retro games and kind of for them to experience what I experienced and see how they take to it.
Well, the thing is with a lot of retro games, it's like they are the best foundation for a gamer to start. I mean, although some retro games are very, very simple, you see a lot of new games now which still have that type of gameplay.
Yeah.
So retro gaming for me is like, it's still up there. For me, a game 25 years ago is still as very important as a game that comes out tomorrow or a game that came out last year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
all right, who am I? That's such an existential question. I don't know if I'm ready for that right now. All right, and I am Evan. So I might have fooled everyone up to this point, but I am not from the UK. I don't know if anyone's noticed. But I am from the US, Ohio to be specific, and originally from Indianapolis, which is, Indiana, just one state over. I live with my girlfriend. We've been together for like almost half a decade now, which seems crazy. And pets wise, we've got a cat. Her name is Ethel, a little orange cat. She's super sweet. I adopted her. It's been 3 or 4 years ago now. And then kind of similar to you, Katie, we adopted a dog right like as COVID kind of set in. It was like a few weeks before like lockdown, or if you could call it lockdown in the United States, happened. And his name is Archie. He's a Rottweiler mix. He doesn't really look like a Rottweiler besides his fur coat, but that's what they decided, I guess, was his main breed. But love him to death. He's super sweet. It's been fun. We spent a lot of time training him and stuff since we've been kind of not going out and doing anything else. So that's been a lot of fun. Outside of gaming, kind of stuff I just talked about. I like, just hanging out with my girlfriend and our pets and going on walks and taking them to on hiking trails and stuff like that. I'm also a pretty avid runner as well. So I like to do trail running. So going out on like hiking trails and stuff, and done a couple marathons, half marathons
Nice.
on trails, which is really fun. I like just being outside in general. So
It's definitely something since I got Jax, my puppy, that I'm not the healthiest of people. I don't go on runs and all the marathons and stuff, but definitely since getting Jax, I've definitely enjoyed going for long walks and stuff. Whereas before, maybe it's just because the other two were big dogs and I just didn't like walking them because they could sometimes pull me over. Whereas Jax is a Cocker Spaniel, obviously a puppy, but a Cocker Spaniel, so more my size, and won't pull me over. I look forward to it, I think. But no, it's quite nice. It's, it's a time when especially if it's a nice day as well, obviously not right now when it's winter, but you can put some headphones in, listen to music, listen to a podcast, and just have a really peaceful walk, really.
Yeah, yeah, it's been good getting to do that. I mean, especially I've been working from home, so I can just clock out at noon if I want to and go on a long walk, and then come back and finish up work, which is really nice. So yeah, I like running, and then like I'm really with video games just a consumer of all things media. I love movies, television, music. Um, I just watched for like I can't tell you how many times watched John Wick yesterday. Love that movie. So pretty much any chance I get, I'll put on a movie. Start a new TV show in the middle of True Detective right now, which is amazing. But yeah, and what I've been playing lately. Hey everyone, Future Evan here, interrupting for just a second. I'm about to discuss what I've been playing, which is a mod for Fallout New Vegas called The Frontier. This episode was recorded prior to the news about some of the devs that worked on the mod. We just wanted to say that we do not condone the gross acts committed by these devs. We went back and forth on whether we should pull this discussion from the episode. In the end, we decided to leave it. A lot of great people have worked incredibly hard on this project over the last 7 years, and their hard work deserves to be recognized, despite the actions by a few dissolute people. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the rest of the episode. Really recently, the last couple of weeks, I've only been playing one thing. I have been playing a new mod that came out for Fallout New Vegas. So if you guys are familiar with that, it's a mod called The Frontier, and it's basically a entire new Fallout game that's essentially built on as DLC for Fallout New Vegas that was made by a modding community over the last 7 years they've been working on it. But it's like a full scale new Fallout game. So it's, you basically you go to Portland. It's take place in Portland, Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest in the US. And it's like nuclear winter. So instead of it being in the Mojave where it's dry and desert, it's like snow everywhere and it's constantly snowing and freezing cold. And they built this like massive Portland. Whereas if you guys played like Fallout 3 when you were in the Capital Wasteland and went to DC, it was really just like a street, but then like everything was like kind of blocked off by rubble, and it really wasn't that big of areas when you were downtown. It was like a bunch of small areas connected by like sewers and buildings and stuff. This downtown Portland is this like massive open, you can go between every building, and most buildings you can go into, and it's really this like huge game with fully voice acted, really professional. It's got cutscenes, it's got like set pieces, like these big action set pieces that like nothing like has been in like Fallout 3 or Fallout New Vegas. It's really cool. That. Yeah, it's if you enjoy Fallout, it's a very Fallout like story. Like it really feels like something that Obsidian or Bethesda or the original Fallout team would write in its story. And like the characters are great, and the voice acting it's not all done well, but it's all professional sounding, if that makes sense. So it was recorded well. Not all the voice actors are great actors, I guess, so I'm trying to say, but it sounds professional. It's really high quality. It's super fun, and it introduces like hundreds of new weapons, armor, and there's vehicles now you can drive, like tanks and stuff, and it's pretty crazy. It's a whole lot of fun. I've probably put like 25 hours just into that like mod in the last like week or two.
It's always something with me when it comes to what's it like? What do you call them? Like basically new games, but mods. I guess maybe, I don't know what the correct terminology is, but that's always the kind of like the thing for me that might make or break it for me is if obviously it looks good and it looks like maybe like the company have made it themselves or things like that, but if it like the production qualities on up to snuff on par kind of thing. Not obviously, I wouldn't expect it to be 100% like the actual main game, because obviously the modders wouldn't obviously have the funds to probably do as much as that. But because I go back to I can't remember even the name of the mod for Fallout 3, but it felt like some of the voices were recorded on like a mobile phone. Like it was, the production quality just didn't sound great, which is why I kind of like left that one to one side. But then another Bethesda basically new game mod that is really, really good is Enderal, which is basically it's the same engine of Skyrim essentially, but it's essentially a like this one, Evan. It's like a whole new game. in like a whole new land, and basically a really, really interesting story, which which is actually quite got horror elements in it from time to time, which is not something I don't think I've ever felt. But when it comes to Skyrim in particular, I've never felt like on edge or scared. Whereas, because it's just not that sort of game. But no, this mod in particular, it definitely has moments where it makes you feel that, and that's definitely, if you're enjoying this, I don't know if you're into Skyrim or your Elder Scrolls, but Enderall's a really, really good one to check out, especially since it's now got its own I guess like download kind of file on Steam. You can get it through Steam. You don't have to like actually have Skyrim, I think it is, or something like that. Like before, you had to like basically have Skyrim installed so you could play Enderall. You would have to like boot up Skyrim and then boot up Enderall, and it was really quite convoluted to get to like the actual mod itself. But now it's like you have like Skyrim installed. You make sure you have this download installed for Enderall, and then you just click play Enderall on Steam, and it just pops up. It's quite easy, quite accessible.
You'll have to check that out. I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan, so I'll have to look into that one. I haven't touched Skyrim in a while, so I have to get back into it.
Skyrim's a big game. It took me many tries, lots of separate attempts to complete that game. Probably 20 hours, and then left it for about a good few months, and then went in for another 10, 15 hours and left it for a few months. And then I just blasted through the rest.
Yeah, if you want to do like every little thing, that's a big undertaking.
That's me with Fallout 4. Every time I try and play that game, I still have not to this day completed the main story for Fallout 4. Because every time I just go back to it, I start up a new playthrough all the time. So I play through like the beginning of Fallout 4. I don't know how many bloody times.
I couldn't get into Fallout 4. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. I love Fallout 3. I lived in it for months when it came out. Fallout New Vegas, same thing. Absolutely amazing. Fallout 4, I thought, this is going to be great. Bought it, and within about 4 or 5 hours, just couldn't get into it. I got up to Nick Valentine in Diamond City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I really like his character. And then all of a sudden I just went completely off of it. I just couldn't get into it at all. The story for me just didn't suck me in. So I just couldn't. I never carried on playing it, but I've tried about 6 or 7 times to just really get into it. And I just can't.
It's really interesting that you say that, because Fallout 4 was the first Fallout game I played. And for me, being the first Fallout game I played, obviously I've had no experience with New Vegas or 3. I loved 4. Absolutely loved it. But then I've not experienced the other games like you have. It's not really a game that really kind of interests me. And then one day, when it got released on PS4, I heard lots of people talking about it in work. So I asked them, I said, do I need to have played any of the other Fallout games to enjoy Fallout 4? And they said, no, it's a separate story. So, okay, fair enough. So I bought it, and yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. I played it all the way through up until near the end, where I got an almost game-breaking bug where I couldn't advance the story the way I wanted it to. So I had to advance it the way I didn't want it to, which was a pain. But I did it, and I loved it. I thought it was a great game, personally.
It's a thing with Bethesda games, bugs.
Yeah. It's a feature. It's not a bug. Yeah, I was on the same page with Fallout 4 as far as I couldn't get into it. I played it, like, I probably put a lot of hours into it, but yeah, I've never just like fully dove in, and it's kind of hard to put your finger on, because like the game is fun to play. Like the gunplay is really good, and the modding is fun, like of the guns, and like it looks good, and like the enemies are, I feel like, interesting and all this stuff. But I feel like the couple things that really put me off of it were your character being voiced, really just for whatever reason. I love like Mass Effect, and that doesn't bother me there. But for some reason, coming from every other Elder Scrolls Fallout game from Bethesda, it's like you're a silent protagonist, and it kind of helps with like the role playing and kind of getting immersed. But something about like the character and I thought the voice actor did a good job, but just something about that just didn't, like, I just couldn't like get fully immersed in it. And then all like the base building stuff is just that's not my kind of, like, I've never been a big like fan of that, like that type of game in general. So the fact that it was almost like, I wasn't required, but it was like a huge part of the game, really kind of put me off of it. And the story as well was, in my opinion, like okay. It definitely was not on par, I think, with like New Vegas. Alrighty, well, let's get into let's jump in here to the rest of the podcast. So we're just going to go through some different questions, topics here, and just kind of share our thoughts and opinions on them. Kind of go through and answer them, just kind of like we did. Kind of go in order, and or kind of however we want to do it. We don't have to stick to a certain order if we don't want to here. So, so first question here, and we'll start with you again, Liam. So, just why do you love video games?
Yeah. Okay. So, see, video games for me, I'm sure it's probably the same for a lot of people. It's escapism. There is. For me, I don't know whether or not I see the world as a pessimist. I don't really know how to describe it, but I see a lot of. I don't see a lot of good in the world. I mean, there is some good, but at the same time, I mean, everyone's going through a really bad time at the minute anyway. And for me, just jumping into a video game is a way to lose myself. So, I mostly play with headphones on as well to really get immersed in there. And when I'm in there, it's like there's nothing going on around me. I am in that game, especially if you're playing like a VR game as well, or a game with a really gripping story, like something along the lines of like Last of Us. Even like the Uncharted series had an amazing story. I even loved the Tomb Raider stories. I thought they were superb. When you're really involved in a game, you just lose yourself around the outside, and it's a really great way to I don't know, to also kind of relax yourself and calm yourself as well. I find it's a really bizarre thing, but that's the main reason for me that I love video games, and it's just so damn entertaining as well. I mean, I can't read a book. I mean, I love watching films, but I can't read a book, and I do like going out and stuff for walks or to do some other activities. But gaming for me is that there's no better way to be entertained than playing a game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say my reason I love games is right on track with what you just said. It's definitely, it's exactly that. It's being sucked into another world and something that's like exciting and different, and being told, an engaging and great story is probably, one of the number one things that gets me into a game. I can usually play a game that's not fun to play but has a great story. But if a game, has a terrible story but might be fun to play, that might be something that's harder for me to get into. So definitely like the narrative. And I guess to go, I guess, a step further from that, I guess, most games that I play, I enjoy and I like and I have fun with, because, I like playing video games. But it's almost worth it for that one game every year or two that just like blows you away. That's like this incredible experience that is like nothing else. That is like, this is one of the best games I've ever played. That knowing that, hey, this is a game I'm gonna want to come back and play over and over again the rest of my life. I feel like every maybe once a year, maybe every other year, more realistically, you get a game like that. I mean, Last of Us 2 is the most recent example I can think of a game where I was just so sucked in and the story was so great, and I just every single second of it I was enjoying, and I had to I played it all in basically 2 sittings, played like 10 hours on Saturday and 10 hours on Sunday, and just like went right through the game. And games like the God of War 2018, going back further, games like KOTOR that I played when I was young.
It's like when you see those credits roll, you're like, all right, it's kind of, you wait, you let the credits roll, and you're like, right, I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna put it up, like start up another playthrough again, just immediately.
Yeah, or those games.
That's what I was like, Last of Us 2.
You have to like take a step back and take some time when you're done. Like Last of Us 2, when I finished it, I was like, no video game that I play right now is going to compete with this, so I just can't play video games for like a week. I need to watch movies. I'm gonna go for a run.
I was an emotional wreck when it came to that game. Obviously, I won't say any spoilers, but it's literally a game that's definitely. There's not many games that come to mind that made me feel how I felt after completing that.
It was stressful. The whole thing was stressful, but in a great way.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster of emotions as well. So you kind of change from having one opinion of a character to having a completely different opinion of them when you get near the end of the game is how I felt. And it was a roller coaster of emotions, that game. And every now and then a game will come along as well, which that you don't want it to finish, you know. And I was kind of like that with Ghost of Tsushima. I don't know if you've played that, but that was a superb game. It was one of the better games that I've played in a really long time. It was beautiful. The visuals were amazing on it. I mean, when I played that game on a PS4 Pro, I could not believe I was playing it on a PS4 Pro. It was stunning. And the same goes for Last of Us 2. They really, really pushed the boundaries of the hardware. But the story of Ghost of Tsushima, it was another one again where it's kind of very emotional, and you just think, wow, you know, and you just did not want it to end. And when it did end, you think, I'm going to miss this game, you know, when you're not playing it.
I know, so it's that feeling.
Yeah.
But, you know, you spend so long waiting for a game, I guess, like Last of Us 2. And it's like, once it's over, it's just leaves a big gaping hole in your heart.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Exactly.
Feel empty.
James, what about you? What do you love about games?
I really don't know the answer. It's kind of like asking me, why do I love my mum? It's like, because
Mm.
it's sort of always been. Like, you know, like you guys, I've grown up entirely with video games, and they've always been there. They've always been there for me.
Mm.
Even, you know, through the good times, and mostly importantly through the bad times as well. Like, there is nothing, I would say, better than sticking a video game on to, like what you said, Liam, for a little bit of escapism. Sometimes if you've got something going on or something like that, there is nothing better than sticking on a video game. And the good thing about video games is it's like a film. It's like watching a film that you have control of and that you're in. You know, like sometimes when you see a film and you go, oh, well, I wouldn't do that. And it's like, well, with a video game, you can actually decide what you want to do and play that out the way that you want to play it. And that, I think with the newer games, that's definitely great. That's a great thing. And with the retro games and stuff, it was more for me, I like challenges. I love a really challenging, hard video game that I feel achievement from. For me as well, it's an achievement thing as well. I love video games because I like to feel like I've achieved something at the end of playing a video game. I think to myself, that was great and I've completed it.
It's making me think of Dark Souls when you talk about that. Like, I'm not a Dark Souls fan. If I'm being perfectly honest, I don't like Dark Souls. It's just not a game for me. I've tried it, and I think I lasted probably 30 to 40 minutes before I was going to throw my PlayStation or whatever through a window. But it's that sort of game. It's like, you know, I admire it for what it does. It doesn't hold your hand like most games do, even like really great ones, I guess, like Last of Us, things like that. But they do hold your hand and show you, oh, you got to go this way. Kind of give you like, I guess, little signs where you just, you know, you need to go, it gives you where you need to go. And
I think everybody's taste in games is different. You know, I mean, for me personally, I'm kind of very similar to Katie, where I'm not a Dark Souls fan of it because I don't really like a game that's just developed to be purposely hard. Sorry,
I'm jealous of people that are into Dark Souls, you know, because it's like people who say, you know, when you defeat a boss after like how many times they're trying to do it, and every time obviously you've gotten a bit better, you've got the health bar just a little bit lower, and you've worked out kind of their pattern and what you need to do to defeat it. And I've watched, like, I've had friends who said it's like one of the best feelings in the world when you defeat a boss after like 15 tries. You just feel like you want to, you know, scream from the top of a mountain or whatever. You're just so happy about it, and it's like, oh, I'm jealous I can't get that feeling because I just can't get past the, you know, I get too ragey too quick.
I can imagine there's an incredible sense of accomplishment once you've spent so much time in and defeating a boss. It's actually very difficult to do, and I get that. Obviously, a lot of people play games to have that sense of accomplishment and that kind of that adrenaline rush, as it were. But for me, you know, I play games to enjoy myself, and if I find something a bit too stressful, then I'm not having fun, so I'll turn it off. I must admit, though, when I played through for the first time the original Kingdom Hearts, which was about this time last year, I went into the final boss or final bosses completely underprepared, and I went in nowhere near as high level as I should have been. And yeah, I honestly thought I was going to give up with that game. The amount of hours I put into that game, which I think must have been about 40 hours, I thought that last boss was gonna. I thought it was gonna kill me actually, because my heart was racing so hard when I was playing that, when I was fighting that boss. Yeah, that was stressful, really stressful.
It's funny what you say. You say Kingdom Hearts. That will be an answer probably maybe for me later on in one of our other questions. Oh.
Katie, anything else why you love video games?
Basically kind of like just taking bits out of what you guys have said. Basically, it's just, it's a chance for you to escape from what can be sometimes a not so great world, and you get to you get to go into like worlds like Mass Effect where aliens exist, and you get to just like explore different places around the galaxy, or Dragon Age, where in medieval fantasy, all these like really beautiful looking towns and villages and things like that, and just a chance to basically live through another life essentially, or like what was that?
It's basically doing things you can't do in real life.
Yeah,
Unless
essentially.
I mean, I don't know. Have you been to space?
I have not. Well, I guess I have. I've been keeping it a secret.
That's the thing. Games is doing stuff that you can't do in real life unless you play like truck driving simulator, where you can drive a truck in real life, or Grand Theft Auto if you are going to go on some sort of rampage at some point in your life. But most computer games, even take Grand Theft Auto, you can do things in that game that there is no way that you would do in real life. I mean, you're not going to blow up an ambulance in real life, so do it in a computer game. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people love video games, is the fact that they can do those things and not either die in space or be arrested.
What I also like about games as well, especially as I've gotten older and more recently possibly as well, is that especially when it comes to like I've got quite a few friends and I've participated in some charity streams and things like that, and it's the games don't, except more and more nowadays when obviously you look at like, I mean, the Game Awards has had a an accessibility award, I think, something like that, for games that are making games accessible for like anybody. And that's what I mean. It's like games now don't discriminate, which I really, really like. Against anyone who's blind or deaf or colorblind and things like that. And that's what I just love to see so much. Like two things that come off the top of my head is that I think I can't remember the name of the YouTuber, but he played through the whole of The Last of Us 2 blind. And obviously, you think that some of us like struggle, but then I feel like it's even more of a struggle, obviously, for this person because they've got that extra difficulty. Grown to appreciate a lot more, obviously, as I've got older, that games have gotten so much better in just making them accessible to anybody, no matter what difficulties you have.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And one last thing I'd like to kind of say before we move on, that you made me think of is just like the community of video games. I think there is like a loud minority of gamers that are, I guess, that don't represent video gaming very well, that are not the most tolerant and accepting people. But I really think from my experience, the majority of people who play video games and genuinely love them are, just like you were saying, are very like welcoming and accepting and they just want to have fun playing video games,
I think social media has helped a lot towards this as well, and not a so-called cancel culture, but the whole calling people out for not being genuinely nice has kind of stopped that toxicity. I mean, you are still going to get it, of course. I mean, but I think the way that social media is going and the way that people are evolving now to be more tolerable of each other has made the gaming community a lot more fun and engaging. And I also think Twitch has probably had a lot to do with that as well, and that's really brought everybody together. But streaming, I guess, is a totally another topic. But I would definitely say that has brought the gaming community together as just one big family, I guess, in some circles,
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
That's how I'd like to see it as well.
Yeah, there's so many platforms now for gamers I feel like, it's not like this thing where a select few people get to represent gaming and get to be like the voice of gaming. It's, everybody can make a Twitch and start streaming. Anybody can start a podcast, right? Anybody can, like have their voice heard through social media.
Yeah.
And I feel like people as a whole are heard more, and that's in general, obviously not just in gaming, than what it used to be. Social media's got its ups and downs, but I'd say one of the positive things is, like you give a voice to everybody, and you don't form your opinion of gamers or whoever based off of the select few people who whose voices are heard. Alrighty, cool. Let's move on to our next question here. So what game or games shaped who you are as a gamer today? And this doesn't necessarily have to be like games you played as a kid, but just any games you've played, ever. I feel like that have changed your opinion on gaming, or just kind of shaped, why you like the games you do, or really anything like that.
Who wants to go first?
Katie, go ahead. You were ready to jump in there.
I'm probably going to say it is my favorite game of all time, and that's Mass Effect 2. And I would definitely say it probably is Mass Effect 2, and I'm going to kind of bring both of these games just together. Mass Effect 2 and Elder Scrolls Oblivion, where it's obviously when I was growing up, I would play like your Marios. I would I went through Nintendo phase, and then I went through obviously a PlayStation phase and played like Metal Gear, Spyro, and things like that. And obviously they bits of that, I guess, helped make me who I am today. But then I feel like what cemented it was definitely playing games, these big open world, and obviously on the Elder Scrolls side of it, open world, on the Mass Effect side of it, very story driven, very rich in story. And those sort of games definitely just made me think that these games can have really big overarching stories and big lands to explore, and just I don't know how to really say it, but I don't know if you get what I mean, but it's like there's just bits in those two games, I think specifically, because they were like some of the first proper games I played when I say growing up, but definitely brought out my gamer side, I guess, and just made me want to dive in, I think, to every game that's got a really beautiful world to living, breathable world to explore, and a really, as I said, rich story to like participate in.
Yeah. I get what you mean by that. I think the first game that made me feel very similar to that is a game called Shenmue on the Sega Dreamcast, and I think that was possibly one of the first big open world games where it let you pretty much do whatever you wanted to do. You could, go get a drink, you could go buy some snacks, you could go feed a kitten, you could do kind of whatever you wanted in any kind of order of the game. It kind of allowed this whole new world of freedom. Whereas back when I was playing Nintendo and I was playing your Super Marios or your, or even in the Sega era when you're playing your Sonic the Hedgehogs, all the games are very linear. This game, Shenmue, and I guess you could argue Grand Theft Auto also did the same thing. It kind of just gave you this whole new sense of freedom in a video game, where you could just literally, just do anything you wanted to do at any given time. And it just, that completely changed me. And when I played Shenmue, those type of games, like free roaming open world games, are pretty much exactly how I wanted to play games in future. I mean, again, Zelda, the original Zelda it was very much open world, but just not to the extent of Shenmue. And that's pretty much what changed things in gaming for me.
Yeah, mine's reasoning, I guess, is pretty similar to both of yours, probably with just a different games. But probably one of the first ones I remember, and one of my earliest memories of like really like getting into a video game and the story and everything was Knights of the Old Republic 2, which I might make some enemies, but KOTOR 2 is better than KOTOR 1. I'm just gonna put that out there, in my opinion. But I remember, I was fairly young the first time I played that game. I was 10, maybe. It came out in 2004, so I probably played it like a year later. Yeah, it's probably like 10. And obviously a lot of like the story beats and everything, and kind of the deeper, things that they were trying to get across went over my head as a 10-year-old. But I just remember being that was the first time I experienced a game that I was like, oh, like games are more than just, clicking a button and something happens on the screen, right? It's more than just the gameplay of it. It can tell a story. It can be, just as, entertaining from a narrative perspective as a movie or, a book or something like that. I remember that game, the characters in the game, the dialogue, and just how it wasn't so black and white, good versus evil. It was like all this gray area. And being a 10-year-old, that was kind of like one of the first times I'd ever experienced a story like that. Really, most things geared towards kids are very black and white, obviously. And that was probably one of the first things that I had really experienced where not only was it in a video game, but it was also one of the first stories I experienced that were, it's not just good versus evil. It's not just black and white. There is gray area. There are decisions you have to make in life that, there's, it's not just an obvious good choice, an obvious bad choice. There's positives and negatives to everything you do. So that one definitely really was probably one of the first games that I, realized that video games could be more than just, the games I'd played before, Crash Bandicoot and, Spyro the Dragon and, Mario and stuff like that, which are all great games. But that video games can tell a deeper story. And then I think in the same vein, another game more recently that I think just took that to another level was Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. You guys play that one?
Heard of it? I haven't played it yet.
No, yeah, I've not played
I haven't played it. Okay.
So basically it's a game. It's obviously it's a game. It's like in like Viking time setting, like Nordic, and you play as Senua, and basically your husband, boyfriend, whatever they called it back then, was murdered, and you're basically going into hell trying to basically rescue him and bring him back. And the whole game is essentially a that metaphor is not the right word, but essentially it's trying to represent mental disorders. And like Senua is supposed to have like schizophrenia, and she hears voices and has visions. And when they developed the game, they brought in all these people who actually suffer from schizophrenia and multiple personality disorder and all these things, and these people basically help them develop the game to make it a super realistic representation of what they go through. And really the game was just a vehicle to explain to people how mental disorders work, and some of them the more serious mostly, like I said, schizophrenia and stuff like that kind of work. And it was another game that really just was like, okay, like video games are so much more than what kind of the general public thinks they are, right? They can teach you things, they can tell a rich story, they can really do a lot more than just be like an entertaining, fun thing to play.
It actually sounds like a really interesting game.
It's phenomenal. It's a very good. It's the game. Like the game itself is like fine. Like it's nothing groundbreaking to play, but like the story and like it's really intense. Like play it in the dark with headphones on, the volume cranked up. It's a crazy experience.
It's one of those games that definitely you could present to because you see it on the news and stuff, and I don't want to obviously get into it too much because you could be getting ragey about it for ages. But just people who they're the people to think, oh, games are only there for violence. That's all they do. It's like no, they're much more than that. And as you can see with stories like that, they're such a great piece of art. And I don't. And also another thing, I just don't like when people laugh at you when you say video games are art, because they are. I mean, they're not all just. I know you get your GTA games and but even games like that are art. But then you look at all the indie games that people make. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I think it's just, I guess, how that's shaped me as a gamer today. To answer the actual question, is the games that I look for, and kind of like I mentioned earlier, those games that blow me away now, that I'm excited to play and that I'm looking forward to, are those really like narrative driven, telling a complex story, things like The Last of Us, the God of War 2018, games like that Red Dead Redemption 2, I think, is another great example that those are kind of my bread and butter of games now, kind of as an adult. And I think it's, because of games like KOTOR 2 and Mass Effect and Hellblade.
the games that shaped me were most probably, I like being. It's tricky because when I was younger, a lot of games I was afraid of, even though I like playing them. I like to be, I like to be frightened. I like to be scared. That's why I like horror so much. As I've gotten older, things don't really frighten me as much anymore, and the whole survival horror thing is more based on jump scares now, which do kind of get me quite a lot. I'm quite prone to a jump scare. But games that shaped me when I was a lot younger were games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Kadelka, which was kind of a little bit like played like a Final Fantasy game, but it was a survival horror. I've always been interested in horror, so those type of games have shaped me as a gamer into what I play, which has probably led me more down a path of the games that I like to play. Either consist of one or two things. They're either very puzzle driven, so they're either, doesn't always have to be horror, but most of the time very kind of horror based puzzle games, or it goes in the complete opposite, where it's a game like Wolfenstein, where it's very action based, shooting, FPS, that type of thing. And I think they're that coupled with a really, really good storyline is something I think that shapes me into the gamer that I am today and the games that I genuinely would buy. But then as I've gotten older, I do look back and I collect a lot of retro games that I didn't play when I was younger, because there were a lot of retro games I didn't play because I was solely really well sort of based into playing survival horror and those type of games. I kind of missed out quite a lot of games that I should have played, and it's only now that I'm really going back and actually playing those games properly. The games that I kind of would have passed up when I was a lot younger because I was more interested in how gory is it, and you know what kind of puzzles and what sort of horror based elements are in it. So it's kind of hard because the games that have shaped me as a gamer that I am today has also hindered me, but in a way kind of given me a new sense of to go back and play all those games that I didn't play because I was so caught up in playing a single genre for a good 10 years. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. I mean, it's definitely good to go back and play all the games that I didn't play, because now I've had a lot to do in lockdown, and I've got a whole back catalogue to play rather than being worried about what's coming out this year or next year. I've always got something to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's really difficult. I can't really narrow down specific games that actually shaped me as the gamer I am today, because I have I personally think I've got such a large variety in taste in games that there's not one specific genre that I genuinely look for in a game. I just want to play a game that's fun and enjoyable and that can keep me entertained for a good 40, 50, 60 hours. Obviously, there are some elements in games that are important, like a good story. Obviously, if it's a really bad story and the gameplay is bad, then you're not interested. But I just want to play a game that's fun. I mean, I've got, in my collection, I've got survival horror games. I've got games like, I've got your Resident Evils, I've got Silent Hills, I've got even, Saw, when Konami made games other than football games. And, I've got Saw. But then on the other end of the spectrum, I've got games such as, like Yooka-Laylee, Cooking Mama, Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, Professor Layton? That's just, my mind's gone.
Professor Layton.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a Professor Layton and then there's Ace Attorney. I don't know if they're the same game.
For some reason, I just had a bit of a mind, like a brain fart then. It's late, yeah, Professor Layton and The Curious Village and those kind of games. And you know what? I mean, Phoenix Wright games, they're not, the stories aren't amazing, the graphics aren't amazing, but it is such a fun game to play because there are kind of puzzle elements, because you need to kind of really pay attention to the details of what these people are saying, and you have to really look for these contradictions, and those kind of games really grip me as well. So it's really difficult to kind of to narrow down what games have shaped me into the game I am today, because all games kind of shape me into the game I am in today. I will play almost anything, if that makes sense.
No, I get you.
Yeah. All right. So next question. What is your favorite gaming memory?
Okay, my favorite gaming memory is, picture this.
Close your eyes.
This is honestly, it's that vivid. I can remember it that well. This is the memory. The sun is just setting, so there's like a real pink, warm orange hue in the sky. Okay, and I would say to you, imagine my bedroom, but you don't know what it looks like. So it's kind of hard. But the year's like 1995, maybe 94. And we've got a Sega Master System, which has Sonic the Hedgehog built into it. Because at the time we didn't have a lot of money. And I think my mum got it secondhand. So this was like our console at the time. And playing Sonic the Hedgehog, the jungle level, the sun setting. The TV is the only thing that's on in our bedroom. We've got no lights. Me and my brother shared a room. And the only thing that's light in the room is the glow of the TV. And I just have this real photographic memory of us playing that game and looking outside and it being like a really weird color, like that really sort of nice orange to pink color. That's what I remember the most. That is like I would say not my earliest gaming memory, but it's one of my favorites because it's like a real sense of being like really young. Me and my brother were, I was 6 and my brother would have been about, I don't know, 9 or 10 or something. And I think it's one of those things that I remember more because of the fact that, I don't know, maybe it's the earliest memory of my brother not being a dick, but that's probably my earliest gaming memory, and I'm really fond of it as well because it's so imprinted in my head. I mean, I'm not saying it's the best memory I have, but it's definitely one of those memories that is up there as my favorite because it's just a nice, like, calm memory. It's yeah.
I get what you're saying. When you've got something that when you kind of think of something, it immediately takes you back to that one specific moment. So it's really strange. So I think one of my best remembered gaming memories where I kind of jump back to quite a lot is when Theme Park was released on the Sega Mega Drive.
Oh, yeah.
And
I thought you were going to say something else. I was like, okay, that's one or two off for me. No, I did play a Theme Park game, but not that one then.
So the first console I played Theme Park on, I remember actually seeing a friend's brother play it. And I looked at it and I was thinking, what was that game you're playing? And he said, oh, it's Theme Park. And I was like, what is it? And he's like, you build your own theme park. And this was the whole concept of Theme Park was so new to me because you're so used to playing your platformers back in the 16-bit era that that a management tycoon type game was brand new for console gamers anyway. So I was blown away by it. And anyway, I've gone straight away. I've ran home almost immediately. It's raining and I've ran home as quickly as I could, getting soaking wet, so that I can beg my mum to rent this game from Blockbuster Video. God rest its soul.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, we did. It's about £3.50 for 3 nights, I think it was, and we rented Theme Park. And me and my mum, we sat in my mum's bedroom because that's where the Sega Mega Drive was. It was in my mum's bedroom, probably to prevent us from playing it until late at night. And we were playing it, and it's really weird. And my mum was wearing a specific perfume that day, and if I smell something now that smells vaguely similar to that perfume, for some reason it kind of triggers my brain, and I think back to when me and my mum was playing Theme Park on the Sega Mega Drive, and we'd play it for 3 days almost straight. Well, not straight, but obviously we'd sleep. But, day after day we'd play it, send it back to Blockbuster Video, and then rent it immediately again and take it home. So I think we did that about 3 or 4 times until my stepdad finally said, "Do you know what? It's cheaper to buy it."
They reckon that smell is one of the like biggest things that causes not a flashback but memory. Smell is one of
like the sense that's most closely related to memory is.
yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think I've heard that before too.
You do words better than me. So.
I have to agree.
One of the most wholesome things I've ever heard. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, thank you.
I love
it. Did you say with your mum?
Yeah,
you played those games.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the one. My parents were just not into playing computer games. I find it amazing that you and your mum used to sit and play computer games. I would have loved that.
Yeah, my mum still does. You know, I loaded on some Sega Mega Drive emulators and some ROMs for her. Don't know how people feel about that, but well, I think emulation's not really so taboo these days. But I did that, and she still plays them today. She loves Columns, absolutely loves Columns. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine is one of her favourite games. Buster Move she loves. She still plays games today.
That's great. No, my mum tried playing. My mum tried playing Candy Crush a few years ago, and she got really into it. She had to stop because she said it was giving her heart problems.
Oh God! I would have done the candy.
Oh man!
I said to her, "What? Why?" And she said, "It's too hard." She said, "It's giving me the ump." And I said, "My heart go funny."
I thought you were going to say it was Breaking the Bank or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was like it's just a desperation to collect all the candy.
I used to make my mom play games with me when I was a kid, just because I could beat her and I couldn't beat my brother at games. So she was quickly like, "This isn't fun. You're just like beating me at these because I don't know how to play."
You're lucky. I never had any. I don't have any brothers. I've got two sisters, and one sister, my elder sister. Not really. She wasn't like into gaming too much, although she would watch me play games, but not really sit down and play a game through. Whereas my other sister, who was only 2 years older than me, did. And I remember playing Mortal Kombat with her, the very first Mortal Kombat, and I beat her, and she beat me up for it. And they say games don't have an impact on her. Yeah, she used to punch me quite hard.
My brother used to do that with me. For some reason, my brother used to be into Brian Lara cricket, and he hated cricket, right? He hated cricket, but he, for some reason, used to like this game. And he said, I ain't got no one to play with. He said, can you, do you want to play against me in this? And I don't know how, but I somehow was beating him, and I had no idea how to play this game. And he raged so hard. And he punched me in the arm. And I had a dead arm. So nice. Massive bruise on my arm. And my brother was just so angry.
It's not just fighting games that can cause anger and violence. It's cricket games too.
And that's what makes it even worse. God. It's a cricket game. It was Brian Lara, like 95 or something. It was something just like, it was pants. Yeah, Brian Lara 95. I remember that having really just like, my brother having like a breakdown over it just because he just couldn't beat me. And I did, but the thing was that made it even better was I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just like, I don't even...
Hitting random buttons.
He kept saying to me, "You're doing the wrong thing. Like, you're doing it wrong." But then I later found out that what I was doing was totally right and just absolutely caning him at it. I think what was happening was he was hitting the ball and I was just catching it every time and like getting him out. I think that's how cricket works. So yeah, he was just completely raging over it, and
that's funny.
Yeah, there you go, another little memory there.
Katie, what about you?
The one that just comes to mind is probably, again, it's probably not a favorite memory, but it's definitely one of the ones I first think of. Is when I was younger, the games I kind of like got into in, I guess, my like between like 7 and 10, I guess, was like the kind of like, I guess, crappy movie tie-in games you would get. So, you like Shrek 2 would come out, so you'd get like a Shrek 2 video game on PlayStation. Like then you have like Madagascar, and one of them, it was a movie tie-in game for the movie Robots. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it, but Ewan McGregor, Robin Williams. And I played through that, and I loved the movie because at the time I was like, when I loved a movie at that age, I would watch it like 5 times a day. When it was like my favorite movie of that, you know, it was just the in movie for me at the time. I would just watch it how many times.
I think I was like that
And
with Toy Story. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. But no, and the movie tie-in game for robots was, I think, the first game I actually completed. And I do remember just seeing the credits roll, and I think it was on GameCube or something. And I just remember going to my dad and going, "Oh, look," and I brought him upstairs and I would show him, "Look, credits rolling. I beat it all by myself," and things like that. And it's like, I know it's obviously, when you look back at it, it's like, it's kind of those kiddie kind of games. But obviously back when I was like between 7 and 10 years old, it's like, that was a big achievement for me. And it was like, yeah, I think I remember that now as being like one of the first, I guess, proper games, I guess, I could complete it on my own without any, needing assistance from like my older brother who likes games as well.
Yeah. All right. It's my turn, isn't it? There's probably a few. I'm trying to think. Probably one of my favorite memories was Halo 3. Did you guys all play Halo 3?
Yes.
Played the first Halo, and that was probably it.
I played a lot of Halo 3 online.
So playing, me and my brother got the game when it first came out, and like all of like his friends and my friends all like came over that day that we got it, and we played through like the whole campaign like in one sitting. And I just remember that whole experience being so much fun, just like all of us like joking around and playing the game, and we're all like huge Halo fans, so like the story and everything was exciting. And but particularly I remember the last mission of the campaign is like it's almost like a carbon copy of the end of the Halo 1's final mission. And it's been 20 years, I guess, but spoiler alerts for the end of Halo 1 and Halo 3. You're basically trying to escape, and you're driving a Warthog, and all of the panels are falling out from under you, so you have to like dodge around these panels that are falling, or you'll fall through. And it's just like pretty intense, like things are blowing up and it's all crazy and all the epic music's playing and all that. And I just remember at the very end, you're like gunning it, and there's like one of your ships you're trying to like ramp off of and land inside the ship, and everybody's on the edge of their seat, and I'm driving, and my brother's playing and shooting all the enemies and stuff on the Warthog. And like as we hit the ramp, like everybody at the same time was like, "Oh," like yelling really loud, like while the Warthog was in there, like flying over to the ship. And obviously it just breaks to a cutscene, it doesn't really matter, but it was just probably one of the most like fun video game memories I have. Just all of our friends over, like a huge group of people, we all like loved Halo, and just like everybody, even people who aren't playing it, were just so into it. And that was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. I had a very similar thing with actually Super Mario World, where me and my sister would watch me play Mario World, and we'd actually take it in turns on the final boss, because we couldn't beat it first time. And it's a very similar thing where when you finally beat it, like we all just erupted and like, yeah, it's like couldn't believe it. It's just like, yeah, when you've got a group of people watching someone play a game, or watching yourself play a game, and you can kind of feel the atmosphere in the room when you're trying to beat it. When you finally beat it, everyone's just so happy. It's a fantastic thing, fantastic memory.
Yeah, that's probably one of the ones that always sticks out to me. Yeah. That's probably my favorite, probably memory playing video games, especially at being that young and everything. Well, last question here we'll do then is first game you ever rage quit, or at least you remember rage quitting, I guess. Or if you want to share like your best rage quitting story, that's fine too.
I'll want to go first. It's because it goes back to what Leah was talking about with Kingdom Hearts. I raged quit out of Kingdom Hearts 1, because I got very close to the end. Very, very, very close to the end, but it was like, you're on that kind of like close to end of the game boss kind of thing. I can't remember the exact name of the boss in this one, in the first one, because it wasn't the main boss, but it was like close to it, and I just couldn't do it. And literally people were telling me because I would do it on stream, people would tell me, right, you're probably not quite high enough level maybe yet. Maybe you need to go back to other worlds and do what you do in JRPGs, which is grind to level up so you can take on a boss. And I'm more of the person where I'm like, I can't be bothered for that. So it got to the point where it's like I kept just trying it and I basically rage quit out of it. And then Kingdom Hearts 2, the same thing happened. The same thing happened. I got all the way through until and I remember this one, until you fight Roxas.
Yeah.
And I think like 5 or 6 times I tried to do it and I just couldn't do it. And I think like the last time I got him down to so much health or little slivers, and it's just like, but then all of a sudden, like he unleashes so many hard attacks and it's just like, I can't do it. And yeah, literally the same thing. People were like, maybe you need to go and grind to level up and things like that. And I was like, I'm not, I guess this proves that JRPGs are not for me. But the thing is, like, I still love Kingdom Hearts. I still like playing it, and I still want to play Kingdom Hearts 3 because I haven't played that yet. But it's like, I just thought it was funny because it was like Kingdom Hearts 1, I'm like, I rage quit at the end. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it again. Kingdom Hearts 2, I rage quit at the end.
I definitely learned my lesson from Kingdom Hearts 1. I will make sure that I do grind until I feel that I'm a high enough level to take on the final boss, because I know what to expect now. So once you've done it once and you've had that experience of being under like, too low level and fighting someone like, I think it's Ansem. Is it Ansem?
Ansem, it might be Ansem in the first one.
Yeah, he's hard.
But it's like the third game. I've asked people who've played it. I'm like, is it the same? Everyone's like, it's a bit more forgivable, and I'm like, okay, that helps me out.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think Kingdom Hearts 2, and especially Kingdom Hearts 3, I think is a bit more forgivable than the others. I didn't have anywhere near as much trouble. I think the only Kingdom Hearts game I had the most trouble with. And I'm trying to remember because there's been so many and I feel bad forgetting because I didn't even play it that long ago. It's the one where you have to attack with the cards.
That's going to probably be because the only ones I've really played are like, I guess the main ones like 1 and 2. I've never really played like the tie-ins. I think because they've got loads of tie-ins, haven't they?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, so I bought the complete collection on PS4 because
there's a lot of games.
There is a lot. Yeah, I think there was 14. I think 14, 1-4. I think it's something like that. I think it's something like that. And I ended up playing through them all, and yeah, I'd say that the one I'd say I had the most trouble with was the one where you use the cards, and I can't remember the bloody name of it now. Yeah, no, that one's got me. Yeah, but that yeah, nah, that game avoid. I think if I was to say my earliest game, which I rage quit, I'm just trying to think, it would have, I'm trying to think, it would have definitely have been Mortal Kombat 2 on the Super Nintendo.
God, yeah.
I played that game to death because I was such a huge fan of Mortal Kombat back then. I still am. To be fair, I say back then, I still am. I mean, not so much the first one. The first one didn't have a huge impact on me. It was fun to play. But when Mortal Kombat 2 came out, there was something about that game that just had me hooked. And I learned every single character's moves and fatalities, friendships, so I could know them off by heart. And I used to have a friend that pretty much did the exact same. And our matches were very competitive. And I think I remember actually when I was young, then I used to have like a basin haircut, so my hair was quite long, and my mum didn't actually put a bowl on my head to cut it, but she did it anyway, and it kind of looked like she did. And my friends used to beat me, and I used to pull my hair out, literally pull my hair out, and they thought it was like a party trick. So I watched Liam do this, and I'd pull my hair out when I used to lose. But I think that was probably my earliest, when I lost maybe 2, 3, 4 games in a row. Yeah, the cart would fling out via the eject button and across the room. That's probably the earliest memory.
Was the AI of Mortal Kombat 2 is enough to drive anyone insane now. Have you recently played Mortal Kombat 2?
Yeah, we actually bought a Mortal Kombat arcade cabinet about a month ago.
Awesome. See, I remember being not bad at Mortal Kombat 2 many years ago, but I went back and replayed it a few months ago, and the thing with Mortal Kombat 2 is the first level is fairly easy. Then all of a sudden, it's like someone turns the hard meter up to like 10. And the AI knows what you're gonna do before you do it.
So what's this? What did you play it on then? Did you replay it, the arcade version?
Yeah, I replayed it on the Mega Drive.
Oh, the Mega Drive.
Yeah. I just remember being really good at it. I remember saying to my mate, I'm really good at this.
Watch me. Watch how good I am.
My arse handed to me numerous times, and then it's not enough to make you rage, but it's just like, well, I'm not playing that anymore.
Yeah, see,
And it's almost
I
get that smug look off your mate, like, is to go, yeah, because
You're
you know
lying.
your shit.
yeah.
You're good. It's like, yeah, of course you did.
See, I feel the same. I haven't replayed the SNES version because I had the SNES one when I was a kid, and I felt like the same. I felt I was almost unbeatable. I genuinely think, and I maybe still do to an extent, where I think I'm very good at that game. So if I were to play it now, I would expect to beat the boss. But I can tell you this now that the arcade version is damn near impossible.
Well, it's made to eat 10p's, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Even when you put it on very easy, it's you get past the first 2 people with ease, and that's it. You're using continues after that on every single fighter.
Did you get your cabinet from 1UP?
Yep, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, they look amazing, don't they?
Yeah, it's actually my wife. She bought it. I say I think I said I don't know if I said we, but it's definitely my wife. She bought that. But what's hers is mine.
I tell you what, my rage quit moment is Hitler.
What?
Is Hitler in Wolfenstein 3D? You can kill him quite easily on like the real low settings, but when I was younger, saying about how good I was, I used to quite enjoy playing games at a really high difficulty level. But this game, Wolfenstein 3D, the Mecha Hitler at the end, I honestly think it's one of them things where I don't know if any of you guys have had this moment where a parent will say, if you carry on shouting like that, I'll take that console away from you and you won't be playing it again. And it's like, but it's that sort of rage where it's like, but you just don't understand.
Yeah, parents don't understand. I've had that plenty of times.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. That's the last level of I can't remember. I don't think he's the actual last. Oh, he might be the last. Oh yeah, no, he is in the final chapter. He is the final chapter. Yeah, Mecha Hitler. He's got like miniguns on him.
Is he got spider legs as well? Because I've not played any Wolfenstein game, I'm afraid to say. So
he's in a giant sort of big robotic. It's the really really old Wolfenstein, like 92.
Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have played it when it came out. I would have played it a little bit further on, probably on PC or something. But yeah, that's the thing that's probably made me rage the most when I was younger. That, and don't ever remember raging. We had Mortal Kombat. I don't ever remember raging at it. But no, that's the only thing I can remember. And obviously Brian Lara Cricket.
It's such an odd game to rage quit on.
I know.
That
Not me. I'm not putting myself in that. And FIFA 95 actually, my brother rage quit a lot more. My brother, this is God's honest truth, and he only did this a couple of years ago. This is a super rage quit. He smashed the controller into his own face.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't live with him, luckily. But yeah. Yeah, he's got a tooth missing. He had to have a tooth replaced.
Jesus.
Yeah, he's been through so many controllers. I'll have to ask him about that next time.
I'm not going to lie, and I'm not ashamed. Sorry, I say I'm not ashamed. I completely didn't mean to say that. I am ashamed to say that I have broken a controller, and I still have the box for Pro Evolution Soccer 6, which is in tatters because I used to play a friend who was a Tottenham Hotspur supporter. And for those who don't really know football very well, when you're a West Ham United supporter and your friend a Tottenham Hotspur supporter, that's probably the worst mix because they're big rivals. And we used to choose our respective teams. And yeah, when they would beat me, they wouldn't just beat me and say, "Oh, good game." it would literally be, they would be right in your face, they're cheering, they're shouting, we beat you in your own backyard and stuff like that, and spit's getting in your face because they're all so excited. And yeah, that was enough to tip me over the edge to break just a controller and the box. Yeah, that was not a good memory. It's a funny one when you look back at it now and you realise how silly you were. But yeah.
Mine was definitely Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Did you guys ever play this game?
No.
You guys
I think I have, no.
Dragon Ball Z fans at all?
Unfortunately, not from me anyway.
You guys never heard of Dragon Ball Z?
Oh, I've heard of it.
I heard Dragon Ball Z.
It's like I thought it was a popular thing. Maybe I'm wrong. So there's this game. It was just like a fighting game, like a 3D kind of fighter for the original Xbox and PlayStation 2 and maybe GameCube. I don't remember, but anyway, I had it on PlayStation 2, and I was a huge like Dragon Ball Z fan when I was a kid at the show, and loved this game. And it was, like I said, just like a 3D fighter. And the final boss, who is Cell, is the name, but he goes through like different like stages, and like the final stage was just so hard, and it felt so cheap as a kid, like me being like 10 years old trying to play this like fighting game, and got so mad that I like threw my controller on the ground and was just like so angry. And my dad was down there, and he was like, yep, he's like, that's it, he's like, we're turning it off. He's like, I'm gonna put it up on the top shelf for a week or so and let you calm down a little bit, because I just could not beat it. Like, just tried over and over and over again, and the computer, kind of like you were saying, like it was like it knew what you were going to do before you did it, and like had a counter to it every single time. And it was like the last thing before beating the game, and it just drove me insane.
Did anyone used to bite their controllers in anger?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, somewhere out there, I'm
times.
wondering if there's still a Mega Drive controller with teeth mark in it from where I had it, and I just couldn't beat a certain thing, a level. Yeah,
I've thrown a few. I've never bit my controller though. I like gripped them really tight, like I'm like twisting it in my hand. Like I've done that before too, but never bit my controller. But whatever you got to do.
We've got you to get your anger out.
All right, cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for us. So thanks anybody that's listening for listening. If you have any suggestions on topics we could talk about, or if you have any questions, write in to xgenpod@gmail.com, and any suggestions or anything you have, we'll try to work into a future episode.
Between this one and next one, we'll hopefully have a Twitter and all that set up. So
awesome, perfect.
I'd hopefully get one set up. So
alrighty,
yeah,
Very nice.
This was fun.
Well,
cool.
yeah.
No, it was a good time.
Great time.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye bye. Thank you very much.